In this video, for the first time ever, we are going to be giving you a sneak peek of what it looks like inside of our school community. So this is a live coaching session where we're breaking down specific parts of the process and we're doing live role plays so you can see what a good example actually looks like. If you like this video, there's a link in the description for you to be able to join the school community so that way you can get on calls like this every single week. I hope you like it. All right, perfect. So I'll just do a recap and then we'll go into a couple of different things. We're going to go into mastering tone, active listening. I'll go as far as I can through there. But as always, if you guys want to stop and ask questions, you guys are more than welcome to do that. Cool. So goal of the script. Talked last week about the connection phase. It's interesting. I'll go a little bit deeper on this. I was talking to one of the sales guys in the advanced group today, and he was being very serious in his connection phase, very much so like, oh yeah, what was it that caused you to look into this further? Like almost like this serious voice. Your connection phase needs to be super light and playful. So when I say you set the frame of the call with your tonality, a lot of times you can get people to lower their guard and open up just by sounding more like a human. And so let me show you guys an example of what I mean by this. Ron, can I borrow you as a role play partner for a second?
Sure, man.
So this is what I hear oftentimes, and it triggers resistance without you guys even noticing it. You're just using the wrong tone in your connection phase. It's not playful. It's not human. It's more like a robot. So it sounds kind of like this. Hey, Ron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's just John. It's John Lallande at Sellies USA. You filled out a form on our website about selling a property, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, what was it that caused you to look into this further?
I don't know. I think it was like trying to find a way to sell my house without like closing costs, hassles, things like that.
Yeah, okay, we can go into that. Now watch the difference between that and this. Hey, Ron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's just John. It's John Lallande over at Sellies USA. You just filled out a form on our website about possibly selling a home on Main Street. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Cool, man. And I'm sure you saw a bunch of other websites as well. I guess what'd you see that caused you to, I don't know, maybe want to look into this a bit further?
I'm just looking for a way to sell my house a little bit faster. Looking for
Okay.
a cash offer, probably close a little bit quicker.
Yeah, that's actually a really common reason why people reach out to us. So we're just gonna have a super basic call, man, just to learn a little bit more about the property, some of the things we can't see online, and then get a little bit more clarity around when exactly you would want to sell, just to see if it is something we can help out with. You with me there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cool, man. So do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it?
I live there.
You guys see the difference in those two tonalities? Like, how did you feel from option one to option two, Ron?
I just felt like you were kind of more into it than the first time. The first time sounded like an order taker versus just somebody who's really into the call.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. It's just, you're just being human. So a lot of times if you guys are getting a lot of resistance from prospects at the beginning of your call, it's usually your tone. It's how you're starting it. And so it's just those two things. I got him to tell me why he's on the call with me. He's looking to sell it quicker. Perfect. I got that. I'm going to dive back into that in problem impact. Keep my tone light. We talked about the discovery. I just need to understand their actual situation, where they're at, what problems are they running into. That's about it. We talked about problem impact last week, which is figuring out the why now, the question that builds urgency, figuring out how does this problem actually impact them? And then what does life look like if they don't fix that problem? Those are the consequence questions. That's a perfect problem impact. Then future state. I'm just going to kind of recap what we covered last week. What's next for them? If they don't know, help them find it out. What are they looking forward to? Get really clear on that. We want to get them to visualize that future state. The better they visualize it, the more bought in they are. And then talk about some sort of emotion around that. So if they can like get in detail where they say, I'm excited, or it's going to be so relieving, something like that, that's going to make your sales call go so much better. How deep did we go into needs anchor last week, guys? A little bit. You guys can come off mute. You don't have to be shy. So this is the part where it's the most, a little bit more with comparables. Gotcha. Okay. So this is the part where it's the most technical because you have to understand where your number is going to be at so you know where to anchor them properly. It's probably the most technical part of the process. So if you're struggling with a ton of price objections, this is where I would focus. Now, the entire purpose of this is literally just to get their absolute bottom dollar. Like, that's it. Sometimes that bottom dollar is not going to line up with exactly where your offer is. That's okay. You're going to run into a price objection, which we are going to get into eventually. But you just want to work on getting this number lower and lower and lower without raising any resistance, right? So I'm not going to ask them, what's the best price you can do for me? I'm not going to throw out a random anchor without any data back behind it. I'm going to get their tangibles, all the things that we talked about to be able to do that. Did we talk about Yeah, we did talk about obstacles last week. So finding out all the things that would make it difficult for them to sell, all the things that would prevent them from selling, and then any other influencers that would be involved. And then lastly, getting the commitment. So the commitment, if you guys aren't familiar with our AI platform, we've got 32,000 calls that we've ran through our AI platform at this point. And the number one predictor of a deal turning into a closed deal is a great commitment phase. The number one predictor. And so the commitment phase is getting them to agree that if you get them the money they need in the time frame they need, so that way they can solve their specific problem and you help them with their biggest concern, they would move forward. So notice how specific that is. If I can get you the $20,000 you need to move down to Florida in the next 60 days, so that way you can get closer to your kids and we help you move all of your stuff, what would be your biggest concern? You guys see the specificity there? It's like, I am literally taking every single thing that they said that they had concerns about, any sort of objections, exactly what they're trying to do. If I can do all that for you, what would you want the next steps to be? What would be your biggest concern? And so uncover and handle any objections, and we want to close the deal before you give the offer. Now, I think where we left off last week was the part of the fact that you're not always going to be able to get them down to your bottom dollar. Like, you're not always going to get them down to your offer. So you move forward with as many things as you can. Hey, let's say we figure out the price, but we get this done in the next 30 days. So that way you don't have to worry about the bank taking your house. And I know that you said you needed a 30-day rent back as well. So let's say we take care of that. If we could do all of that for you, what would be your biggest concern? So notice the only thing I have hanging there is the price. Now, this question, if you guys are losing deals that you're like, I know I should have closed this deal, I would go back and listen to how well are you executing on commitment. Because the commitment phase is really where the deal is won. It's like, you're sure you'd be good. You're 100% sure. There's nothing else that you could think of. I'm 100% sure. If you can get that commitment, you should be able to get the deal as long as you're not calling them back like the next day, right? Get the offer, get the commitment, give them the offer right there. So that's a recap of what we covered last week. Before we go into tone, what questions do you guys have about the process? What's up, Mr. Josh?
So I always go back and forth with the situation phase and the problem awareness. So the situation phase, it's really just to get context on the property, but you're really not going into it as much as problem awareness. Yeah. I always get those two confused because you're kind of like going into the problems with situation, right?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't look at it as like, oh, I'm in situation, I'm in problem impact, because the two are very fluid. It's like, okay, I might role play with me for a second. It might just go like this. So the house, do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it?
No, it's vacant.
Oh, how long has it been vacant?
For about a year.
Really? It's been vacant for a year. What are you doing right now to keep up with like the maintenance, the exterior of the house and all that stuff?
Really not anything. I live about an hour away from it.
And how often do you go see it?
I mean, I haven't been there for the entire year, so I haven't seen it at all.
Well, hold on. If it's been vacant for the last year, what came up recently that caused you to want to sell this now, though?
Right now, the payments are just getting more than I can afford, and I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Ah, shoot. How much are the payments? Boom. I'm in a problem impact. It's like super. It's very fluid. Now, what were to happen if I say the house, do you live there? Is it a rental for you? You go, I live there, but it's in foreclosure.
Yeah, you just go straight into
problem impact. Yeah, I'm in problem impact. I'm just gonna go exactly. I'm gonna clarify. I'm gonna probe. I'm in problem impact, and that happens sometimes. right? Like you just asked the seller a question. You don't want to be like, oh shit, they skipped ahead to problem impact, but I'm still in situation. I need to ask my situation questions. That's not
Yeah.
the way to run the process. It's like, dude, they gave it to you, run with it.
Yeah. You're really just using that situation phase to grab onto a problem, and then the why now is just the probing. And okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you live there as a rental. Well, I live here, but I'm moving out to Texas. Oh, cool. What's out in Texas? I'm in a problem impact.
I got you. Okay. That makes sense.
You know, it's like one question can get you there.
Okay.
Peter, what's up, bro?
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I got you, brother.
Continuing on that conversation. So again, speaking about foreclosures, I had trouble on 2 calls last week where basically I nailed my connection and my situation phase. I felt pretty good. They're in foreclosure. They have, medical problems, bills, whatever. And it's almost like they agreed with me so much of like, oh yeah, like I'm in trouble. I want help. I need help. So I got stuck on problem impact because it's almost like, I felt like I didn't even have to go there because they kind of already agreed that they were in trouble. Right. So in that situation, like, would you still kind of like, I almost felt dumb asking questions like, well, like what happens if, if you don't find a solution, or if you don't call the bank to try to resolve this, or if you don't, stuff like that. Like, I just kind of felt silly asking that.
I wouldn't ask that question that way. I would say, gosh, it sounds like this has been really tough. How much longer do you guys want to keep dealing with this? They're gonna be like, oh, no, not at all. Not any longer. Okay, so it sounds like it's time to make a change. Yep, boom, I'm in a future state. Like,
okay.
Remember, guys, it's not about the questions you ask, it's about the answers you get. Because I could ask really good questions and I could get really bad answers, and that call's not going to close. I could also ask really bad questions, and if I get a great answer, like, I'm in foreclosure, I need to sell this thing right now, I'm so done with it, I've been so stressed out. It's like, all right, that's problem impact. I didn't have to ask any good questions, but they gave it to me. So it's like, that's the reason it's called problem awareness or problem impact. Problem awareness is like the old school NEPQ version, but I call it problem impact. The reason that it's called that is because they need to be aware of the problem, or they need to understand how that problem is impacting them. That doesn't mean that you have to ask the perfect question to get them to be aware of that. Sometimes they're already aware of that, which is just a great lead. Cool, run with it.
Yeah. Okay. If you and again, I'm gonna ask Lindsay this later on this week, but if like once if they want to stay in their house, obviously, because obviously 99% of them do, in your opinion, would you just go right into like exploring what that would look like and starting to help them like gain trust on calling the bank with them and XYZ? Or would you try to continue on with like future state and sort of like really explore like, well, is staying in their house they're in their best interest?
The bank calls are very effective. There's a reason why Lindsay and Caroline do those. So they are very effective because you show them that you're on their side before you ever go into any of their other sales calls. So I would probably go that direction, and then from there go into future state. But are you familiar with the saying, not letting go of the bike? Do you know what that means?
I'm not, no.
So like, you don't want to ask the seller, okay, cool, what's next for you once you sell this? They're so early, like that's too hard of a question. They're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to think about that. So you have to let go of the bike slowly with the foreclosure. You would say, so God forbid, let's say that the bank ends up taking the house. We need to make sure that you're not going to be homeless. So let's at least create a plan B. Are you going to want to stay in the same area, or are you going to want to go somewhere else?
So start that conversation after we get off the phone with the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Cabral, what's up, brother?
Hey, a quick question. The connection phase, doing a calls. So you're kind of using the, I'm holding a copy of your property tax record script. There's a couple of variations I saw. The one after, it's saying they had me call you to see if either like you or someone in your neighborhood is looking to sell, or the other ones, like, would you be opposed to having a conversation? If they're not looking to sell right now, would you just go into it, try to go into like like the next phases, still engage in conversation or go on to the next call, or kind of maybe ask them about when they might possibly be looking to sell in the future, kind of engage that way?
It really depends. There's no like right or wrong answer to that. It's how many leads do you have, and what's the best use of your time? So like if I'm barely getting people to pick up the phone, I'm only talking to like 1 or 2 people a day, I am going to literally like hit everybody as hard as I can. I'm going to try to close everyone. Even if they tell me not right now, I'm just going to go, yeah, and honestly, you could be better off just keeping the property. Help me understand though, do you live here? Is it a rental? I'm going to still go through all the rest of my process and try to get them there. But if I'm like, dude, I've got a pretty full pipeline and I get to that point in my call and they're like, no, I'm really not going to sell no matter what, I might just move on and go to the next one.
Got it. Perfect. And last question, say inbound leads that you get from like PPL, but they're like certain age, like, say a few months old. With those ones, would you still be being like, you just filled up a form on our website because they just didn't, and they might have done it a few months ago, or how would you approach those?
No, I would use there's a script called the follow-up fortune script. It's somewhere. Let me see if I can find it and I could just drop in the chat. It might be the aged lead script actually. Let me find it. It's a little bit different of an introduction. It's like, yeah, you filled out a form on our website back in April of last year. I guess I should ask, did you sell that property or were you still looking for ways to sell it? Now hit me with whatever they would hit you with. Did you sell that property or were you still looking for ways to sell it?
I haven't sold it yet. I'm still thinking about it.
Okay. So I'm just going to go, cool. Glad I caught you going in the right process. They're like, no, I just decided to keep it. Oh, did you just get a bunch of lowball offers and decide to hold off altogether? What ended up happening? Yeah, exactly. Okay. And when you did reach out back in April, what were you hoping to accomplish back then by selling the home? Well, I was looking to do this. Boom. I'm back into my process.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Cause like they filled out 4 months ago. They're like, oh, I didn't fill it out. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. They're not going to remember. Jared, what's up, dude?
Yeah, hey, I do got a question about like the future state and tangibles. Do you have like a question to like consistently get tangibles? Because I figured out like if they want to retire, I'm kind of like confused on where to go for that.
So there's some sellers that don't have tangibles. Like if they're like, you got a landlord that owns 50 rental properties and doesn't really need the money for anything, he doesn't have any tangibles. So I'm going to go the other way, which is the comp walk down, the 3 season and R. If they have like clear tangibles, for example, let's say that they're buying another house, they're having credit cards to pay off. The way that I like to frame that is I'll say something along the lines of, hey, I want to make sure at the very least our offer covers what you need, because if it doesn't, I'm not even going to give you an offer. So walk me through the house. How much is that going to cost? How much are you putting down on it? So like if they have tangibles, it's all about framing it right. So that way they don't feel like you're just trying to get their like bottom dollar out of them. You don't want the seller to be like, oh, I see what you're doing. So I'll frame it that way. If they don't have tangibles, they don't have tangibles. So just go to the next thing. Like I just inherited the property. I'm well off. I have a great job. They might not have tangibles. So just continue.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Sweet. Let's go through the rest. I don't think I can find the old age lead script. All right. Let's talk about tonality. So we'll pull that up. So you guys should all know this. Sales is only 20% about the questions you ask. It's 80% about how you ask the questions. Your tone's going to dictate how the seller perceives why you're asking the question. And so the example I like to give is if you are asking the question and you sound like you're judging them, the seller is going to feel judged. They're not going to give you the real answer. So I'll give you a perfect example of this. Let's say a seller tells you they're in foreclosure and you go, oh gosh, you're in foreclosure. How'd you get in foreclosure? They're gonna be like, what the fuck? Why'd you, what do you mean? You know? Now, if I go, oh, you're in foreclosure. How'd you get in foreclosure? They're going to feel weird because I'm asking a curious question when I should be concerned. Now, if I go, gosh, yeah, you're like the 5th person we've talked to this week that's in foreclosure. How did you get in foreclosure? Now the seller is going to perceive that I'm asking the question because I'm concerned, right? Now, if I say, so the house, do you live there? Is it a rental for you? What's going on with it? The sellers are going to perceive that I'm asking the question because I'm reading off of a script, because that's what I sound like. Or if I go, oh, cool, the house, do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it? they're going to perceive that I'm asking the question because I'm curious. You guys follow me so far? You guys see the importance of this? It's how they perceive why I'm asking the question. If they perceive I'm asking the question with the wrong intention, they're going to push back on me. So if at any point you're asking a good question, but you're getting resistance, it's like, okay, they probably perceive that you're asking it for with the wrong intention. Like you're trying to take advantage of them or something like that. So the first thing is understanding the curious tone. This is where we want to stay in the beginning of our process, because I don't want to get super serious in the very first 15, 20 seconds of the call unless they drop something serious. Now, if I open up my call and the seller I say, well, yeah, what caused you to look into this further? And they go, gosh, I'm just so stressed out about everything. I think I'm going to lose the house. I'm not going to stay curious. I'm going to tone match. And so one of the most effective things you can do is just match their tone. So if the seller tells you a problem, you drop into a concern tone, because usually the sellers don't say, yeah, someone just passed away. They're going to be like, yeah, someone just passed away. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. How are you doing? You see, I'm just going to match their tone. Now, if the seller goes, yeah, I'm just looking for something a little bit bigger, I'm not going to go, something bigger? How much bigger of a house do you need? It's going to be weird, right? Oh, cool. How much bigger of a house do you need? I'm matching their tone. They sound nonchalant. I'm going to sound nonchalant. So the curious tone is literally just upward inflection. Oh, really? How long have you been thinking about that? Oh, cool. What'd you see on our website that caused you to look at doing this now? That's upward inflection, right? If you're unsure how to sound curious, that's how you do it. You just have upward inflection inside of your tone. The concern tone is downward inflection. Oh my gosh, how long has that been going on? Wait, but why now though? You guys hear I'm dropping my tone at the end of my question. That's the concern tone. I'm going to use that when a seller is telling me a problem, or if they drop into a concern tone, I drop into a concern tone. This is just tonality matching. Now, the playful tone, I need to use this when I need to break tension. And so there's something that's really important to understand about tonality, which are about resistance meters, is there's always a resistance meter on your call, right? Sometimes they start really up here and then they might go down, but then they might go up. And so have you guys ever felt like you're in the middle of your call and you feel the seller's resistance go back up? What happens if you ask a consequence question at that point? Doesn't land, right? They're gonna be like, well, they're gonna go, oh, it's not that big of a deal, no problem, because their resistance meter is up. And so there needs to be a point where you get there. If their resistance meter is going up, I'm just gonna shift into, I'm not focusing so much on my sales call and the questions that I'm asking. I'm focusing more on getting their resistance down, right? That's my entire goal. Now, the one way that you do that is your playful tone. So, Josh, role play with me for a second. I want you to be like a type A seller. Like, I'm going to say, where are you headed next? You're going to be like, I don't know. It depends on how much I get from this property.
Right.
And you're just super kind of short, kind of one worded.
Yeah.
So, Josh, the house, do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it, man?
What does that matter?
I'm just curious, man. What I've noticed is a lot of the times when people have no idea where they're going, it ends up being a waste of my time and yours. I don't take you as the type of guy that's looking to go waste everybody's time, right?
No, not really.
So where are you headed, brother?
I'm just going to be moving out of town.
Oh, cool. Is that moving up to Canada? Is that moving down to the Bahamas? What's going on over there?
No, probably just somewhere else.
Okay. Well, that could be anywhere. Do you have an idea of where you got a place picked out?
Yeah, I do.
Nice. And how far away is that from where you're at now?
Probably about maybe, I don't know, another state. Yeah, probably Kansas.
Brother, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
You're not on a secret CIA mission where you can't tell me anything, are you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. You're acting like I'm going to bite you. I'm going to use this information. I'm going to post it online. You're not running from the government, are you?
No, I'm not.
I'm just giving you a hard time, man.
Yeah.
The reason I ask these questions is honestly, it helps me get a good idea of okay, where are we in the process? Do we need help finding a place? Things like that. So are you going out? You said you're going to a different state. Is that Texas? Where are you headed?
Yeah, I'm actually just going to be moving to Kansas. Be close to my kids.
Let's pause there. It's usually just something playful where it's okay, I just pattern interrupted you so hard you got a little dopamine hit, your wall went down. And then you're like, yeah, I'm just going to Kansas, man. I'm going to be closer to my kids.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean by being playful. And so there are times where the tension kind of builds up a little bit where you just have to go playful. And the easiest way to be playful is just to smile. If you're like, man, I'm not really sure how to be playful, I'm not a playful person. If you just smile and you laugh, like you can actually laugh while you're doing it. Bro, you're not on a secret CIA mission over there, are you? They're going to be like, no, obviously I'm not. They're going to laugh at that. Or if I go, hey, are you on a secret CIA mission or something? I'm like, what the heck? What are you talking about? It's going to feel weird. Right. And so that's what I mean by using like a playful pattern interrupt. That's when you use the playful tonality. Now, the last one we don't talk about as much is the confused tone. And the easiest way to use this is when you are confused. And so, like, have you guys ever been on a sales call and the seller's saying something that just doesn't make any sense? You're like, this does not make any, like, you're saying you want one thing, now you're telling me you want another thing. I'm like, I'm baffled right now. I'll give you guys a perfect example. We had this one seller who was like, I need to close in 7 days. This was March. She had been trying to close in 7 days since January. And she's like, I'm going to keep shopping until I get somebody to close in 7 days. Now, what's wrong with that logic? Like, what's the problem with that? You guys can come off mute.
You can't close in 7 days if you keep trying.
Yeah, she's like, keeps pushing. She keeps waiting for a buyer that's going to close in 7 days. It's going to take her 6 months to find a buyer that's going to close in 7 days. Doesn't make any sense. So the wrong way to ask that question is like curious or like concerned. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to be confused. You're like, hold on. I'm confused. You've been trying to sell the property since January, right? And you've been trying that long to find somebody that's going to close in 7 days. Have you considered that the reason you haven't been able to close so far is because you keep trying to find somebody that's closing in 7 days? Like, I'm just confused. Are they like, they say something that just doesn't make sense. They're like, I don't have any money, but I want to fix up the property. I'm behind on my mortgages, but I'm going to fix up the property. Wait, how would you fix up the property though if you're already behind on your payments? I'm just confused. Like, I don't understand. That's the confused tonality. So if you just ask your questions the way you want to ask them, a lot of times they land the right way. What makes your tonality fall flat is you're trying to think about the right way to ask the question. And that's usually where it falls flat. Or you're trying to think about the question that you want to ask. And so then you ask the question without any tone behind it. That's the problem with that. And so I talk about something called state shifting. There's one of the guys that taught Jeremy. He talks about the difference between state shifting and tone shifting. So you can try to sound curious. You can try to be playful. You can try to sound concerned. But how much better does it land when you actually are concerned? When you actually are curious, right? When you actually are playful? It's going to land 10 times better. And so instead of thinking like, okay, I need to try to sound curious, just get curious. Just be curious. Instead of saying I need to try to sound concerned, if somebody tells you that they're behind on payments, get concerned for them. That's going to make your tonality land 100 times better. Now, last thing I'm going to add here around mindset. It is extremely uncomfortable at first to change the way you speak. So type in a 1 if you guys feel like you're struggling with your tonality right now. Doesn't look like a lot of people. Maybe a couple of you guys. So like a half. For me, it was extremely uncomfortable. Like I was a force recon sniper and I was not a very like emotional person, right? Like coming right out of the military, right into wholesaling. I was like, if somebody cried around me, I would be like, what the fuck? That's really weird for me. And then people would tell me like these really emotional things, like they're going through a divorce. And I had no idea how to handle those things. Like first of all, I had no life experience. I was like 24, 25 years old, coming right out of the military. I didn't relate to any of the problems that these people had. And I was not very empathetic. And so like just practicing this was very difficult. But do you guys believe that you can, that people get better at public speaking by practicing? They go to Toastmasters, they get better. For sure, right? every good public speaker gets better somehow. Every actor that you guys watch in movies, they did not know how to channel their facial expressions, how to use their tone to like draw in emotion. That wasn't something that they were just born with. They practice that every single day. There's actors that speak a different language and they have to work with dialect coaches to learn how to speak English properly, and they do it really well. Like you wouldn't even know, like Gerard Butler, you would not know that that English is not his first language, but they practice it. And so the reason I bring this up is because one of the biggest limiting mindsets that I see in sales reps is they go, "Oh, I'm just more monotone. There's nothing I'm not going to be good at tonality. Like, oh, this is just the way I talk." Or like, I'm not naturally empathetic. I'm not a very empathetic person. I'm a logical thinker, right? They say things like that and they give themselves a way out to actually get good at tone. And if you fight for your limitations, you'll keep them, right? Like if you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to get good at tone, then you're not going to get good at tone, right? But everyone can. And I can tell you that I am a testament of this because I had terrible tonality when I was starting out my sales calls, and it was super uncomfortable. I literally had to like put on an actor hat and like kind of like detach from my normal personality just to start working on my tone. And then I did it and I was like, holy shit, this is working way better. Like people are actually opening up to me and people are telling me things that I've never heard before. And I was like, oh, this shit actually works. And I started focusing on it more and practicing it more. So I just want you guys to understand that about your tonality, that if you're really bad at it at the beginning, it is something you can practice. It might take you more practice than somebody that uses natural tone, but it's something you can get better at. Questions? All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is active listening. So I want you guys to understand, listening is not a passive activity. Listening is an active activity. And so if you're sitting there talking to somebody, and let's say that you're asking them, you ask them a question and they're talking and you just sit there like this. And then you wait for 2 seconds and they stop talking. And then you ask them another question. What's going to be going on in their head? What are they going to be thinking? They're like, you're not actually listening. Now, I can tell, like the reason I say active listening, it's an active activity, is like when I'm talking to you guys right now and I say something that you resonate with, I'll see all of you guys kind of nod your head, right? And if I was talking to you one-on-one, you might go, interesting. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. You might be doing things like that to show me that you're listening. Now you're doing that naturally because that's how you naturally have conversations. But sometimes when we get on sales calls, what we naturally do just goes out the window. And so you guys have to understand that the thing that gets sellers to build trust, the thing that gets sellers to actually open up is how well they feel like you're listening to them. And if you guys have ever seen those scripts that say like, ask this question, then shut up, that's the wrong way to active listen. You don't ask a question and then you just stop talking, because then they don't feel like you're actually listening. So they'll kind of talk a little bit and they'll go, but anyway, this is what I meant by all that. And they kind of go back to the point. You guys have ever had that happen on your call where they're telling you about a problem and then eventually they just stop talking about the problem. They're like, yeah, but anyway, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not in a huge rush, because they don't feel like you're listening and they don't feel like you're interested. So they feel like they're just kind of rambling. Nobody wants to feel like they're rambling. So they're going to start filling that space with going back to the point, which to them, the point is the price, right? And so we have to show them that they're listening. So part of active listening is using really good verbal cues. So Peter, let me role play with you for a second. You're going to be a motivated seller in this point. So just give me some like problems and I'll show you what I mean by that. So the house, do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it?
No, I live here.
Okay. Where are you headed next?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really figured that out yet. I have some family that lives over in Vegas, but haven't really decided.
Okay. Who is in your family that's out in Vegas?
My grandma.
Oh, interesting. And are you close with her?
Yeah. She's not my actual like biological grandmother, but we got really close. She was my ex-girlfriend's grandmother, actually.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And so okay, I'm just going to go there. So I'm just going to pause. You guys see the really interesting. Wait, what? It's like all these things. Now, I'm going to give you guys some other ways to use these verbal cues, but these are the most common ones. It's like if you ask a seller really while they're telling you something, it's one of the most powerful questions you can ask because they're just going to go deeper on whatever they said. So when I said really, you went, yeah, but it's not really my grandma. It's actually my ex-girlfriend's grandma. And then you're like, you start going deeper on that. You know, I never said, how weird would it have been if I would have said, is that your real grandma? Wouldn't have made any sense, right? But just going, really? And they're going to go, yeah. And there was a Joe Rogan podcast. I love watching the guys that talk about like interrogating people, any sort of human behavior. And I was watching an episode with this guy the other day, and he was asking Joe Rogan if he feels like he's ever had anybody on his podcast that was planted there to like push an agenda. And he's like, yeah, 100%. He's like, you want me to teach you how to get those people to open up? He's like, yeah, tell me. He's like, so you don't actually ask those people any questions. You might just repeat back what they say, or you'll just ask them, like you'll say like a really or something like that, to where they feel like they need to over explain what they just said. Because if you ask them questions, whenever you ask somebody a question, they have to process their thoughts of, do I want to answer this honestly or not? Right? So like if anybody's asking you a question, you're like, okay, do I want to answer this honestly or do I not want to answer this honestly? Your walls kind of go up. You have this decision-making framework of going, maybe I should answer this because this person's trying to help me, or maybe this person's going to try to take advantage of me. That's going to happen. But if I just say, really? Wait, what? You don't have time to even process that. So you just immediately go deeper on whatever you were talking about. Right? So if I'm like, let's say I'm talking to a seller and they're saying that they inherited the property and their siblings are all fighting over it. If I go, well, hold on, how long have they been fighting over it? You might have this little framework in your head that goes, why would he ask that question? Is that a question I want to answer? Where if I just go, wait, what? They're fighting? How do you mean? Or wait, really? They're going to go, yeah, they've been fighting like crazy. They're just going to start talking more about it. It's actually a more impactful tool than asking a question is just to use a verbal cue. Now, the other one, if you guys ever had a seller that just kind of rambles and you need to stop them somewhere to ask them about something, like they're talking about 50 different things and they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm also behind on my payments for 5 months. And then they continue talking about like sports or something like that. They're just like completely, they're ramblers. I want to ask them about that question without seeming rude. So I'm not going to wait till they talk, ignore everything they just said positively, and then ask them about the negative thing, because that's weird, right? Imagine they just told you like 80% positive things. They love the house, but then they tell you that they're behind on their payments, and you don't talk about any of the positive things, don't acknowledge it, and you just talk about missed payments. What are they going to be thinking in their head?
You have an agenda. You have an agenda.
You have an agenda, right? Well, you obviously have an agenda. You just want me to talk about how much I hate the house so you can get a good deal on it. But if I go, wait, hold on. You said that you were behind on your payments. How long has that been going on? It's right when they say it, hold on. And then I ask them a question about it. It's a really good way to do a verbal cue. Whenever a seller tells me something that is like rough, it's heavy, it's a deep problem, I will use, oh my gosh. So this is just a way to show them that you're there with them. So it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going through a divorce. It's been really hard on my kids. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Just something like that. Oh my gosh, really? Just shows them that you're listening. That's it. If they are telling you something that's surprising, wait, are you kidding me? Let's say you're talking to somebody in Florida. Insurance company has been doubling their insurance every single year. They doubled your insurance? Are you kidding me? Yeah. What are they going to do? They're going to continue to talk about it, right? Now, there's these other things that just show them that you're listening, where they say something that makes sense and you go, ah. So it's like you ask something confused. You're like, hold on, I'm confused. You've been wanting to do this for the last 3 years. What's been holding you back? They're like, well, it's this thing. Ah, okay, got it. And then you might ask them another question. That's a verbal cue. Or just, interesting. Shows them that you're listening. Those are verbal cues. They can be 10 times more impactful than questions, because they'll just get people to continue to open up. I remember we had this one client, and he was having a lot of trouble just keeping the conversation flowing. And so I told him, just work on your verbal cues, and that's the only thing I want you to work on. And he had this seller talk for like 45 minutes, and he barely asked any questions. He just used really good verbal cues in the right place. Super powerful technique to get sellers to open up. I'm going to pause here. Very important part. I want you guys to, I want to answer any questions you guys have, if you have them.
Are
What's
we
up,
still?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Josh, and I'll come back to you, Peter.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a bad habit I have. I'll let somebody finish what they're saying, and it might be either nothing to do with the property or they're just talking about the positives like you mentioned. So right before they go into the positive, you're saying, hey, just hold on real quick. You mentioned XYZ. You
Yeah.
just kind of interrupt them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like if you watch Jeremy, he does this like to an extreme. He will basically only get people talking in the direction that he wants them to talk. And so if you're like, yeah, I really don't like the area, but hold on. Well, hold on. What do you not like about the area? Well, I don't like this. I don't like that. And then, you see what I mean? You can use it right there.
I got you. Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Peter, what's up, dude?
I just had I feel like when I'm, I guess maybe good with my verbal cues in the sense that I'm like active listening, and then like the seller will go from maybe someone that's a little bit more on the ramble side, like they're giving a lot of information and they're talking a lot, to then all of a sudden just giving like super short answers and like closed off. Like I guess that's their version of resistance. So
Yeah.
I'll do a verbal cue, and then they'll basically answer me in, a few words, and then they'll just stop talking, and then I'm like, where do I go from here?
Yeah, usually that's misplaced verbal cues. So I've heard this more often with NEPQ trained setters that don't really understand verbal cues, and they will just do them the complete wrong way. So here's what I mean by that. Role play with me for a second.
Okay.
So the house, do you live there? Is it a rental? What's going on with it?
Oh, this is just it's just a rental.
Interesting. And where are you headed next?
Well, it's a rental. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's a rental. So okay, and are there tenants there right now?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have they been there?
4 years.
Okay, really interesting. And well, hold on. Tell me about the tenants.
Well, they're good tenants. They're
Okay.
a mom and a dad and a kid and a dog.
Okay, gotcha. You see, like that's gonna. I swear I hear that all the time from like NEPQ trained setters that don't really understand how to verbal cue correctly, and so you might just be cutting them off too much.
Like you're confusing them.
Yeah,
it's not that they're getting defensive; is that you're confusing them.
Yeah, and you're not actually listening to them.
Okay.
You're like so focused on interjecting with your perfect verbal cues.
Well, it mostly comes in with. Sorry, it mostly comes up with like pattern interrupts when they're rambling, which I guess what we're going to go down next.
Yeah. So yeah, 100%. Now, if they're a rambler and you have to keep them on track, that's not the end of the world that they're just telling you about the problems. But notice when you started giving me more one-word answers when I was talking about the tenants, what did I do?
You were interrupting me.
Well, after that, if I want to get you talking again, I went from a yes or no question or an easy to like a more open-ended. So tell me about
question.
Like, tell me about the tenants.
Well, it's a family of 4. They have a dog, and they're good tenants.
Okay, interesting. So they're good tenants. That's how you use a proper verbal cue.
Okay, got it. A little bit of a mirror and a little bit of a.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about mirroring next. Has anybody ever been through any Chris Voss training? Yeah. Do you remember the module where he talks about going to a party and he's like, oh, I only mirrored the entire time and everybody said I was the most interesting person there. Remember that module? Have you ever tried to do that? Have any of you guys ever tried to do that? It's the weirdest thing ever. I want you to try to go to a party or a social gathering and don't say anything and just mirror. And people are going to think that you're autistic or something. They're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? And so like that is not the direction that you want to go. And it's one of the most misused sales techniques is over mirroring. It just sounds weird. So like role play with me for a second, Josh. I want to show you guys an example. So what's come up recently that's caused you to want to do this now?
The payments are just getting too high for the mortgage of the house, so I just feel like it's a good time to go now.
It's a good time to go now.
Yeah, I think it's a good time. Yeah.
So it's a good time.
Yeah.
I swear, dude, this is like one of the most common mistakes I see with people that are like, oh, I'm just going to mirror more. It's like so weird, right? It doesn't make any sense. Now, so like a lot of times the reason that people mirror is they don't know where to go. If I'm going to mirror, I'm going to ask a question about it. So I could do that exact same thing. Hit me with that again. I said, why now? Hit me with it again, Josh. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, the payments are just getting too high, and I think it's just really a good time to go now.
But you said it's a good time to go now. Why do you say now is the best time to go?
I'm starting to dip into my savings, and I really don't want to waste more money than I've already have.
Well, hold on. How long have you been dipping into your savings?
For the past 6 months.
6 months? Wow. I can mirror that way, and then I can ask another question, but I'm not just going to go, the last 6 months? Oh, time to make a change? It's so weird. And so most like the problem with people that over mirror is they usually learned it from somewhere. Like most people don't just randomly over mirror. They learn a bad habit. And so you can mirror on things that aren't obvious, but just ask a question and it makes it land 10 times better. So they go, yeah, it's just too much. Too much? In what way? That's the way to mirror. I don't like doing the too much because then they go, yeah. And I'm like, fuck. Where am I going to go from here? But if I go too much, in what way? Then they go, well, because in this way. So I'm going to ask the question that actually gets them in the direction that I want them to go. Okay. So let's talk about labeling next. This will probably be the last thing that we cover today. Then we'll just go to open Q&A. There's a right way to label and there's a wrong way to label. What bad salespeople do is they use a label as a recap, and they like think that that's active listening. So continue to role play with me for a second, Josh. I'm going to show you a bad example. So hold on, it's too much in what way?
Yeah, I'm starting to dip into my savings, and it's just getting very hard to afford at this point.
So it sounds like you're dipping into your savings and it's a little too hard to afford at this point.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I'm going to do some sort of a recap, I'm going to label it with an addition to it. So I might go, gosh, so you've been dipping into your savings for the last 6 months, and on top of that, you have XYZ going on?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a situation I want to be in, but it's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least it sounds like it's time to make a change.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's the right way you can label. I'm not going to go, so it sounds like, and then I'm going to repeat back exactly what they just said. Because that does not show that you're active listening. That shows that you're trying to like recap a process to prove to them that you're active listening, but it's weird, right? I might repeat back what they said and then add something onto it or ask another question. So hold on. It sounds like you've been dealing with this for 6 months and you've been tired of it for a while. What's come up recently? I could ask that question. How much longer do you want to keep doing this? I could ask that question. So I show them that I'm listening, or I can, my favorite way to label this is show them that I understand their problems better than they do. So let's say, for example, somebody says, yeah, I've been apart from my kid. I lost custody 3 years ago. I've been living here for work. And they never told me that their kid is the most important thing in their life, but I'm just picking that up from what they're saying. I might go, man, it sounds like the most important thing in your life at this point is just getting those memories back with your kid. They're going to go, yes, exactly. So I labeled that. It sounds like this, but I was right. And so you have to be right. And you have to not say something that they just told you. If they said, yeah, the most important thing in my life is my kid right now, I'm not going to go, it sounds like the most important thing in your life is your kid. But if they're showing me all these actions that tell me what's most important to them, I can say, so it sounds like this, and reaffirm what they just told me. I'll give you guys another example. I was talking to this seller, and he's like, look, I don't need the money from this house. I'm good. I'm retired. Only reason I'm even considering this is because my friend lives there, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like, pain in the ass in what way? Starts talking about all of it. Eventually I go, man, sounds like at this point in your life, money is not the most important thing. Sounds like the most important thing for you is just to be able to enjoy your retirement, hang out on the couch, watch your sports game, and just reap the rewards of what you sowed. And he's like, dude, 100%. That's the right way to label. He never told me that exactly, but I could kind of take what he said and show them that I actually understand what's important to him. Does that make sense, you guys? You guys follow me so far? I need some more head nods. Cool. Josh, you had a question on that?
Yeah, so like in the problem awareness, I remember I asked you a question about this, but you can label the emotion for one of like the type A people that don't want to open up. It's like, it sounds like that's been pretty stressful. Like,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they're telling you that they're behind on payments. They're telling you that the tenants have been destroying the property. Gosh, man, it sounds like that's been frustrating. Dude, yeah, it has been frustrating. That's the same, like, it's the same thing as getting the emotion and asking them the question. How has that been impacting you? Oh, it's been stressful. It's like, it sounds like it's been stressful. It still hits.
Yeah. Okay.
Another way you could do that is like, so you're saying, or you mean to tell me? Wait, so you're saying that these people have been living in your property without paying rent for 6 months? Hold on. You mean to tell me that the HOA won't let you park your car in your own driveway? That's another way to like show them that you're listening, but kind of get them to double down on it. So that's what we call labels. So the last thing we're going to talk about with active listening is we want to keep the seller on track. Active listening does not mean you let the seller ramble. You still need to control the conversation. And when the seller uses, when the seller rambles, just use your verbal cues to do a tactical interruption to get them back on track. So we always get those sellers that just ramble and they kind of talk themselves into it, and then they talk themselves out of it on the same call. You guys have probably ran into that at some point. They're like, I really want to do this, but I don't think I should do it because I have this thing going on, but gosh, I really need to because of this. But in the same time, I want to do this, this, and this. What you're doing is you're letting the seller loop. And so we need to break that loop and let them go straight down the line that we need to get them to. So they're like, I really want to do this, but well, hold on. Why did you say you want to do this? And how long have you been wanting to do that? Like, get them in the direction that you want them to go. And then there's something called the Therapeutic Listener Trap that our AI, it basically brought this up after listening to, I was like a couple thousand calls at the time, where there's a lot of reps that will sit there and they'll just listen and listen and listen and never actually solve the problem. And that's the therapeutic listener. I also call that getting friend zoned. So you're just sitting there and like the seller's telling you about all these problems, but you never actually turn on the advisor hat to go, okay, I got you. I'm going to take care of that. So once you get the seller to open up, they're in problem impact, they're going deeper. They're like, they feel the emotion, they feel the need to change. It's not just sitting there and continue to listen to all their problems. You've already done that. You've built their trust. You need to shift to, well, don't worry. I'm going to take care of you here. That's exactly what I'm here for. I'm going to help you with X, Y, and Z. Let's figure that out going into future state. So if you think about the process, you can kind of break it up into problem finding and problem solving. So first part of the process is problem finding, right? What is the problem? How long has that been going on? How's that impacting you? What happens if it doesn't change? Okay, I found the problem. They found the problem. We all acknowledge it's a problem. After that, it's problem solving. It's like, okay, how are we going to solve this problem for you? Let's talk about it. What's the next chapter of your life look like? What do you need help with? If you notice, future state and obstacles are all around what's the next chapter of your life look like? How can we help you make it easy? That's it. And then getting the needs and commitment. That's all it is. And so every single phase, future state, obstacles, needs, anchor, and commitment are all problem solving questions. Whereas the beginning is problem finding, problem awareness. And so once you get to that problem impact, they go deeper on the problem. You need to put on that advisor hat. I got you. I'm going to take care of you with that. That's what I'm here for. Let's talk about the next steps. And you're going into the future state. If you don't, you're just in the therapeutic listener trap. You're going to get friend zoned. Oh, you've been so nice, but let me go talk to another couple companies. Oh, this has been so helpful, but let me go think about it. Right? Because you didn't actually solve their problem. You just listened to it. All right, we'll pause there. This is gonna be a class. Do you guys, first of all, do you guys like how we're going over this stuff like this? It's a lot more like actual in-depth coaching, less like just random Q&A. So we're gonna be going over this over the next couple of weeks, probably months, because I have everything from clarifying and probing, building trust, problem impact, building urgency, future state, every objection prevention technique that I could think of. Like, I'll do this later. I need to get more offers before I accept anything. I'm considering listing it. I'm considering renting it, keeping it, all the things you can think of. Then we're going to go into objection handling basics. We're going to go over overcoming price. I want more money. I need more money. I need to get more quotes. I have a better offer. I need to shop this around. Every single thing you guys can think of, we're just going to break down like one by one. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple months. Questions?
Hey, John. After I memorized like the 7 basic situations, or I guess the 7 stages, and I'm kind of like building out my own script in addition to like what everything is in the school. But is there like a central resource for just prompts? You know how like on the labeling, it's like, so you're saying, it sounds like you mean to tell me, like, is there a centralized for each stage? Because sometimes like I'll either get lost or stuck, and I just want a quick little prompt to like help me get, like how to frame the question in that stage.
Like things you can add into your script.
Yeah, I just want to memorize, not like the whole script, because I want to like keep it fluid, but I want to memorize like just how to say the questions, like how to start it, how to reframe it, how to start to overcome that objection.
Yeah, that's in the next couple of modules. It's like
Okay.
when we go into problem impact, I give like I'll give you a perfect example. When we go into the price objection, like the once comparison objection, it's like there's like 3 different ways you can ask this. So like, how do you acknowledge and disarm? It's like, hey, I want to get you as much as possible too. I hear you, and if this doesn't feel like a win, we won't move forward. We could always try for more money, but I hear you, and maybe it makes sense to go another route. It's like I write out like every single disarming technique, and then go into every single way we can clarify, every single way we can isolate. It's like 4, 5, 6 different ways that you can do the same exact question. So that is coming.
Okay. Cool.
Alishba.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good. How are you? How can I help?
Good. Quick question. I'm getting a lot of prospects with clear pain and motivation. Like the pain is super there. Like somehow they fell on the stairs, they broke their ankle, and then their grandson took away the property, whatsoever, a lot of pain. And with a clear motivation and a plan B, everything after my gate too. And they end up ghosting me. They agree on the price, they verbally say yes and everything. And when we send over the agreement, they just disappear. Like in thin air. I couldn't like reach them out, call them. They just come up with new problems.
Yeah. So, I mean, the main way to prevent that is to make sure that you're giving an offer on that call. So you're doing the hold, going to get your numbers, you're coming back, you're giving an offer, you're going through the agreement with them, and then you get really good at objection handling. Whatever objection they're giving you as to why they don't sign, that's the objection you need to learn how to handle.
Okay, so suggest me how to handle that, please.
What'd you say?
Suggest me how to handle such a, because I do give the offer and everything, and they said, yeah, like the number, and I send them the agreement straight away after the yes, because it's already planned, and they're just looking. I walk through them. They're like, okay, I'll sign it tonight, and then they ghost me.
Yeah,
like
that's the objection you need to work on, is the I'll sign it later. Like whatever they hit you with there, I don't have time to go through it today. I have 1 more minute, but that's the objection, is like, oh, I'm going to sign this later tonight. It's like, it's usually a fear objection that we're going to go over eventually. And so that's what you need to work on.
Gotcha.
Cool. Awesome. I will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.